Hello, and thank you for your continued interest and enthusiasm to the Peddie School. This webinar is to review our financial aid process and to give you a little bit more insight on the user experience, how best to use our resources to consider next steps for your financial aid application. My name is Peter Park. I proudly serve as a Director of Financial Aid. I'm also a very proud alumnus from the class of 2007. Part of my Peddie story certainly began because of the role of financial aid here at the school. And without the strong support of the program here, there's no way that our school or our household, for that matter, would have considered the next steps to apply. So thank you for your interest, and I'm eager to show you the next steps here together. So as you access our tuition and affordability page, the first thing you'll find is a brief overview about our commitment to access and affordability as a school. And one of the ways that we do that is certainly through our robust financial aid program. It's worth noting that this past year, our budget size was just north of $11 million in total financial assistance for our families. And among that, the range of those awards were anywhere between $5,000 towards the full cost of tuition. And on average, the grant was roughly around $50,000 for our families. As you continue to navigate this site, you'll find that there are three distinct channels to consider. The first being our merit scholarships and our selective process there. The next being our need-based grant overview. And then lastly, the application for financial aid, which we'll get to in just a minute. As you continue to scroll down this page, you'll find that we're very transparent about the value of a Peddie education with our tuition rates for this past year with boarding versus day. But what's also worth noting is that there is a lot of assistance beyond tuition. And so while the tuition is certainly comprehensive, we know that there is a lot of different opportunities with the experience of a Peddie education, and that's included in that tuition as well. As you scroll up, you might see a familiar face in this segment with 23 questions with Peddie to further assist you and share a little bit more insight. So let's go back up here and talk a little bit more about our merit scholarship program. It's worth noting that there are certainly many different scholarships to be considered, but the most important point to remember in your application next steps is that there is no additional requirement to be considered for one of our selective merit scholarships. Each year, as long as your application is submitted by the January 15th admission application deadline, our committee will do our due diligence and certainly review every application holistically to consider the talent of each pool, each enrollment season. As you scroll down this page, it's worth noting that these three different channels of scholarships are widely available, but also in range of the scholarship type. The Armelino scholarship is roughly covering the price of boarding tuition across the next 4 years. The Annenberg scholarship covers day tuition over the next 4 years, and then a Potter scholarship is roughly around $30,000 per year for the next 4 years. And in terms of navigating this part of the website, you can certainly click on any one of these buttons for more details to learn a little bit more about the criteria for selection. Great. We go back to the main page here and click on need-based grants. You'll see a great overview, again, about our commitment to access and affordability, as well as the grant range that I mentioned earlier. Again, you'll find a familiar video and perhaps a familiar face to help answer further questions. And what I highly recommend for our prospective students and households when thinking about starting and beginning this process towards the application is to review this frequently asked question section. More often than not, there might be a question that you have as a household that may be answered here, but certainly our office and our team are available to answer your particular questions. But more often than not, the main question that I often receive in our team is the following: will applying for financial assistance affect admissions decisions? And so the short answer is that our admission applications are reviewed without regard for a family's ability to pay. And only in the last stage do we become need aware so that we're able to look at the budget for that year and certainly make selected decisions towards a March 10th decision. Great. As we scroll back up, what I recommend is then going towards the how to apply for assistance button to get started with the application itself. Earlier in this webinar, you heard a lot of great details on how to approach the interview as well as the admissions application. In this part of the review, what you'll find are two really distinct steps on completing your application for financial assistance to Peddie. The first is to complete the parent's financial statement, or the PFS for short. And if you click on this link, peddie.org/SSS, that'll take you to a third-party partner called School and Student Services. Please know that your application and review is kept confidential and secured through this platform. And so it's best to set up your login information and create an account for your application. What's also worth noting after you create that family account in your portal is to note our school code. And Peddie School code is 5716. This is critical information to remember so that our office and our team can review your particular financial circumstances and receive your information as a prospective applicant. And lastly, the second and critical step is to complete your verifiable tax documents and to upload them through the Secure Family Portal on School and Student Services, or SSS for short. Recently, we had a policy change to streamline that process for our household so that what we're looking at now is the tax year 22 and tax year 2023 complete returns, along with any schedules or income statements. And for our prospective households who may own a business or certainly entrepreneurial in nature and have multiple streams of income and expenses, please reach out to our office in case you have any particular questions on how best to support with verifiable tax documents. Lastly, I just wanted to highlight the tremendous team that I work with and certainly some additional helpful resources as well. If you click on the Family Resource Center here, you'll find a great overview from SSS, everything from a step-by-step guideline to walk through the parent's financial statement to further webinars and great panel discussions from our SSS partners. And then lastly, our team here, highlighted by Mike O'Neill, our student associate director, and Violetta, our international student coordinator and financial aid coordinator. Both Violetta and Mike are Peddie parents as well, and they understand certainly the educational investment in a Peddie experience. And so please do reach out to any one of us for your questions in the near future. Great. And before we close, I wanted to share just a brief overview on the financial aid timeline for your consideration and reference point. As I mentioned earlier, the parent's financial statement has opened and is now available on School and Student Services. Again, a friendly reminder to make sure to use that school code 5716 so that we receive your application materials directly. The following dates to remember are December 15th for the financial aid application deadline. So to submit the PFS through your secured family portal, please make sure that any additional resources that may help convey your financial circumstances are uploaded in that secured portal. And as I mentioned earlier, in the second step, to upload all required tax documents, specifically tax year 2022 and tax year 2023 in that secure portal. And lastly, to note that the financial aid determinations will be sent with our admissions offers so that the household who is admitted to Peddie and has also applied for and qualifies for financial assistance will receive that information along with their admissions decisions on March 10th. With that, just wanted to say thank you again for joining us for this webinar. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to us at fa@peddie.org on behalf of our team. Thank you again for your continued interest and enthusiasm for Peddie. We look forward to seeing your application soon. Thank you.